microphone to Wumbo. Oh my god, look at it!
Oh my god, doesn't the audio sound so clear right now? Isn't it so insane? Hi, I'm Soup. I'm doing a series as someone who is new to the anime community with a love for film and storytelling. This is just me giving my useless perspective as an outsider with too many opinions. Starting out with the expert visual and environmental storytelling, the beginning scene of Attack on Titan. What a fantastic opening. We are able to see exactly what's at stake, the reason why people are so scared to exist, these birds that are flying high over the wall that's supposed to be protecting them, and then there's this giant Titan who's there, monolithic almost like structure, peeking over these walls that are supposed to be a sign of security, but also almost a level of control in a way, and also just kind of keeping people within a structure. I do think that the visuals provide the audience exactly what you need in order to comprehend the stakes that are at hand and why the characters feel the way that they do. And I feel like it's expertly done with Attack on Titan because you can see exactly the conflict and the reason why the characters are going to be acting the way that they do. It helps with the immersion of the show, which is exactly what you want to begin with. You know, this first scene where Eren is speaking with the soldiers and he's like, they haven't had a serious attack in over 100 years. The soldiers are a little bit too comfortable, etc. It really puts you in the place of the characters that are, you know, so vulnerable, especially since they start out as children. They give away a lot of information very seamlessly, so to put you where the characters are at, and I think that that's great for immersion. It's like the intro to everything is part of the storyline. It's not separate from the exposition. And also, I just have so much admiration for the writer of Attack on Titan because he really stuck to his guns, and I admire that a lot. I prefer being shown the story. I prefer it being like a natural progression instead of it just being kind of like told to you right away, right at the beginning, and then having a separate storyline. Also, I think that this development, watching the development of the characters happen right in front of us, instead of it being told to us, enhances the story and then gives us more of an emotional connection to the characters. Because like when Eren dies, or like I don't think he dies, I have no idea, when I almost thought that he died, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. When I thought that he died, I was so emotional. I was so upset. Eren and his mother Carla had like this very beautiful interaction at the beginning. Eren wants to join the Survey Corps, which is the most dangerous of them all because they go out and try to find where the Titans are, and it's extremely risky. Eren's mom Carla is just so emotional, just so intense. It's such an emotionally intense scene because you see the mom have so much care, you see Carla have so much care for her son Eren, and it's such a beautiful moment. You have so much compassion for a mom who just loves her son and wants the best for her son and wants her son to live a long time, be successful, etc. I think that emotionally ties the audience to the character even more, especially when at the end the mother is so brutally murdered by a Titan and eaten just so viciously and vile. It's a vile scene, but you become like, your heart breaks and aches for Eren. I mean, can you imagine watching that happen right in front of you? Like horror, just a horror. Now imagine me just saying this scene to you and me just speaking it to you instead of seeing it. There's just something to be said and to be admired about writing that is able to do that, and also visual storytelling that's able to do that. And I think that that's where Attack on Titan does such a beautiful and amazing job. Another thing to be said is how you see the walls constantly in the background. There are these like broad scenes that you see where it's completely zoomed out. You see the characters in the corner having their interaction while the walls always being in the background, right? It helps you to really comprehend where the characters are at, where this society is. It enhances the understanding of the world's geography in the scale of the humanity's predicament. Okay, Just gotta shake it out. Also, the magnitude and the scale of humanity's predicament in this universe, without explicit explanation. The characters' development collectively is just done so well. You see Aaron's anger develop right in front of you. You see the reason why he is so vengeful and ready and just like angry at the world and the universe that they're in. He is at the point of not caring whether or not he lives or dies. Anyone watching this would be full of rage after watching what happened to Carla, easily. Aaron had already had this anger towards, the soldiers, towards the world that he was already in. He had this very valid anger to begin with. We see everything that's happening and we're like, well, the reason why is because of this. It's because of what he experienced. And without that, I feel like I said earlier, just telling you this, it's not going to have as much of an emotional impact as watching it yourself. How are you supposed to have that kind of compassion without watching it? Solo leveling, Jin Woo becoming like completely overpowered, he was validating himself to become this super overpowered person for his family. In a similar way that like Heisenberg or Walter White in Breaking Bad became extremely OP in a similar way, in my opinion, and he kept rationalizing all of his horrible behavior because he's a man. A man should defend his family and needs to provide. I'm rationalizing these things that I'm doing, these awful things that I'm doing, because I'm doing it for the sake of my family. No one understands, even if I am hurting other people, it's for a good cause. And it's just like, it still feels irrational to act like that in a way, Also, the development of maybe the characters that are the Titans as well. I know that Annie ends up becoming a Titan herself. I just mean kind of more of the general Titans as of right now, the ones that aren't humans for all I know. So the Titans instilling an intense level of fear. They exist to consume. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. They exist to consume. That in itself is so scary. There's no possibility of like compassion or understanding, which makes it all the more horrifying, to be honest. We have now taken ourselves out of the food chain. We are now brought back into it, and we have these walls that are thin compared to the Titans that are supposed to be keeping us safe. Now, humans who were once out of the food chain are now an endangered species. That's so scary, especially because us as humans, we are so comfortable. It's hard to imagine a world where we are able to be devoured like that. It's hard for us to imagine that. So being able to convey that much fear of being devoured in that way, especially when we are so removed from that, is an extremely difficult task to accomplish. And the writers and the way that we see it, the visual storytelling, the storytelling in general, all of it, we're able to be immersed in this world that we are so incredibly detached from. And it's just another example of how well this storytelling is in Attack on Titan. It would be impossible to convey that if we had just spoken it to you. That's an extremely difficult thing to do. It's impressive that it was able to be done. Okay, all right, feel good about that point. All right. Depending on where I go with this, you could argue that it's suspense or foreshadowing. It's a little bit of both, and I think that they can blend into each other pretty well. Foreshadowing sets up important plot points and maintains suspense as a result. I think that maintaining suspense in itself is an extremely impressive feat as a storyteller. One that I think is a master at it is Alfred Hitchcock, one of my favorite directors. The Birds, Psycho, all of that. Just fantastic director. Rear Window, also probably top 5 favorite movies of all time. He is a master of suspense. Suspense in itself is an art form. We are losing that, I think, a little bit, especially when it comes to horror, because it's just so easy to scare people with jump scares and loud noises. I've seen a few horror movies lately, and it's just jump scare instead of conceptually it being horrifying. There's a great scene from Rear Window. Spoiler alert, please go watch it. In the movie Rear Window, What it is it's a guy that's injured. This is back in the 50s when you can't really entertain yourself as well as we can now. And he's just kind of watching people in an apartment complex and watching them interact and, live their lives the way that he is because he's bored, he's injured. Weird, I know, especially for today's standards, but just hear me out. He's getting a little too invested in these people's lives, right? He sees a man start fighting with a woman, and he starts acting very suspiciously. Some scuffle happens between him and his wife. He comes down, and he's just like he just doesn't know what's happening. He's coming down from that scuffle, right? The thing is, bottom line, moving forward, Jimmy Stewart gets a little bit too involved in this story. He thinks that man killed his wife. So Jimmy Stewart, the guy who's injured, ends up having his girlfriend go sneak into the apartment to try to get some evidence, right? There's something that she does that makes she's still there, by the way. I literally have chills. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. She's still there in the apartment with the man that killed his wife. The man who killed his wife realizes what's happening. Oh my God, it's such a great scene. He realizes what's happening, and he looks up. He looks up with his cigarette, and he's just he looks up and looks directly at the camera. So he knows that they're watching him. All right, now there's no denying it. Literally chills thinking about it. It's crazy. It is such an insane scene, and yet again, beautiful storytelling through visuals. It's just not enough appreciation for visuals with storytelling. Because for just a look up, he just looks up, for that to instill so much fear into the viewer is so powerful. It's remarkable, and it's talent, it's beautiful, it's storytelling that we need. We need more of that. And it's completely silent when that happens. No jump scares, there's nothing, no music, nothing. Just a look up can just give you so much fear, because then he knows that you exist. He can kill you now, too. He can kill you, too. Suspense can drive viewers to almost frustration. To me, it almost feels like a level of frustration that I don't know what the is in that basement. It's driving me crazy. I need to know. It made me think, is Aaron's dad trying to make human titans weapons? If that's the case, then why is Annie almost working with the titans? Why did she get rid of all of the titans that they were experimenting on in order to understand them better? Where is it coming from? Why is this happening? Are they trying to become the titans? Are they trying to live with the titans so that then, maybe there's some weird ass religion thing that they can become part of the titans and then they could live in harmony? All of this causes you as the viewer and me as the viewer to want to continue watching because you need to know what happens. In Solo Leveling, I'm just not really experiencing any level of anticipation about what happens. I'm not really experiencing any kind of theories. I'm not experiencing any of that because I didn't feel enough immersion to begin with in order for me to have any theories regarding the show. And honestly, if that's your kind of thing, by all means, still enjoy the show. I just think that, a show can be better when we take more care and consideration with the exposition, and I feel like that's just majorly lost. The use of action to reveal information. Now, I think that Attack on Titan does its action scenes so beautifully. I never was super into action scenes except for Pacific Rim, which was a fantastic movie. Usually, action scenes are used as filler. It's not utilized in the way that it can be. There is so much that's revealed in the first season through action scenes, and I'm sure that that's going to continue throughout the entire show. But it's amazing that they can do it and utilize it as much as they do, and so much is revealed through the action sequences. Things like Erin's transformation being revealed during an action scene is so impactful, because it's not like you're waiting, it's not like the plot stops when the action continues, like when the action scenes happen. It's blended together. And it also provides information about Erin's abilities in a dramatic and engaging way. It's impressive. It's just a shame that like action sequences are just used as fluff when they could be used in as a tool to convey information, especially when you can see it being done so well. I hadn't seen it done very well, because I would get annoyed when there was like another action scene, because I'm like, there's nothing being told here. That's why like I didn't really love like Transformer movies or anything like that, because it was just action. It was just for the sake of action. It didn't feel like anything was being revealed until the end of the battle, because whoever won, whatever. Something else that I think is very notable about the exposition in Attack on Titan is how well they show the characters fumble and fail. It's really cool to see a display of characters not doing well right away. Like, while they're extremely talented, they also fail, get injured, and don't, like, win a lot. Watching people only do well isn't very satisfying, and also isn't very realistic. We all fail. We all mess up. We all do very poorly when we first start doing things. Again, I can't help but, compare to Solo Leveling. He did fail at first, but then there was just a time when he just, like, the whole time, he kept winning. It almost feels like there's nothing at stake. With these characters that continue to die with Attack on Titan, there's so much more at stake for these characters, and it's just so important to convey that to the audience, and I think that they just do a really awesome job of that. Wow. Another aspect of Attack on Titan is the symbolism of a lot of different things. For example, the walls. The walls are such a huge symbol throughout the series, it seems. The walls symbolize a level of security that's kind of more of an illusion. Then almost like immediately after, there's an enormous titan that breaks right through it. And it's just interesting that like the walls give this illusion of security when there absolutely is not any security, especially associated with this universe. It's impossible. But also, there are themes of, like with Armin, there are themes of it kind of being restrictive, no freedom or oppression even. The outermost wall, Maria, they're the ones who are sacrificed first before the people who are wealthy that get to stay in the middle. They're just trapped and just like sitting there like sitting ducks waiting to get attacked and eaten by the Titans. I think that there's a parallel of the religion praising the walls the way that they do, in the same way that religion worships these rules in a way almost as a sense of security in the next life. If you abide by these rules, if you abide by confining yourself in the same way, you'll be able to be free in the afterlife. If you're able to, in the same way with Attack on Titan, if you're worshiping the walls, there's almost a level of security and safety that they're hoping for in their current life. But it's never a sure thing, ever, like no matter what. And I thought that was an interesting parallel that could be made, that, the rules in religion could be equated to the walls in Attack on Titan. I thought that was an interesting parallel. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but it's a parallel that I made personally. Especially when like they completely demolished the church where they were praying, and it was just like this beautiful sense of irony that just felt very, very vindicating almost, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you can't guarantee, no matter how much you pray, there is no guarantee that you'll be able to live. There's no guarantee that you'll get everything that you want. There's no guarantee of any of that at all. And I thought that it was interesting and a cool display of like, kind of like religions, in my opinion, and I respect other people who abide by religion. It's completely fine. But to me, it just doesn't really seem, it seems kind of pointless in my opinion, because what are you supposed to do? Like, there's no way, how can you let your afterlife dictate your current life? But with these physical barriers, that it just seems silly to me. But anyway, in conclusion, Attack on Titan's Exposition is a masterclass of how to do a proper intro to a story. And I just want to address some critiques that I've heard of, you know, my reaction to Attack on Titan and how much I loved it. There were some people in the comments that were like, this is arguably like the worst season, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, like, and also the slowest season, that's kind of what they were saying. I think that, you know, while people are valid for feeling that way, there's a reason why it's slow. It's to explain all of these things. It's to take the time necessary to convey all of these themes to the audience, to then make the rest of the series that much more impactful. And I think that it's important that we recognize when exposition is done so well. It is so important, and sometimes somewhat of a lost art. It was just a beautiful amalgamation of how to properly do exposition, and I just thought it was something to be notable, especially if I'm doing an analysis of an entire season. I felt like this was a perfect theme and a perfect way to describe the whole season. Absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to continue this series and to continue watching it with you guys. The bar is set so high, and I'm just impressed over and over and over again with this show. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing. We're also pretty close to a K, and it would be really cool to get monetized somewhat soon. That would be really awesome. Please consider donating to the Patreon if you're looking to support in any way. We are going to be adding all of the footage as soon as it's done directly to the Patreon, so that you guys can see it firsthand before it comes out if you're interested. It'll be like a watch along kind of thing, so you can watch it along with the show, and you can see whatever's on the cutting room floor. So, because a lot of it has to be cut out due to time constraints, etc., but you get to see everything that isn't shown. I'll also be adding anyone who is a patron to the end of all the videos. I'll be saying your names out loud. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know your thoughts on any of the opinions that I have. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have some things that I need to work on as well. And so, yes, thank you so much for being here. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, bye.